Joining us now for our Stocktwits executive interview, Eric Desaulniers, CEO of Nouveau Monde Graphite. So, Eric, rare earths, lithium, they get all the headlines, but graphite is important as well. Consumers may interface with graphite and not even know it. Tell us a little bit about why graphite is so crucial right now.
Right now, yeah, we all started our life writing with pencils with graphite, but today there's a way more usage to graphite. It starts with active anode material, obviously in lithium-ion battery, one of the main components of the battery. Should be called a lithium graphite battery, would make my life much easier for sure. But also like in about 20 different other applications. It goes in polymers and thermoplastic and in refractory bricks that are building the walls of the steel foundries. That's probably today still the biggest market for graphite. Foil for iPhones to dissipate energy in circuits. When you need energy to be dissipated very quickly, you need some graphite foil. So there's tons of gaskets, carbon brushes, tons of small applications that are quite important in our daily life. Yeah.
You know, I want to talk a little bit about the vertical integration edge that NMG offers. You're building a vertically integrated model with that in mind. How does this strategy translate into really higher profit margins and maybe a lower cost per ton as well compared to a pure miner?
Absolutely. So the first thing we're doing is to have a great deposit. So we took our time to discover in 2015 this great deposit that provided high purity flake graphite to start with. That's the foundation of the company. And then in the last 5 years, we developed a very specific material for Panasonic Energy, the current suppliers of Tesla, obviously, but also Subaru, Mazda, a lot of other cell maker. And also they're very active in the battery energy storage. So we developed this active anode material. Instead of selling at $1,500 US a concentrate, we're developing value added, and we're selling at a much higher price, like close to $8,000-$10,000 a ton. This active anode material. That's one example. Thanks to our great team of R&D, and now we're doing the same in other markets. We announced recently EM shielding material, and that's a material that we know is very necessary for large defense contractor that we're in talk with. It's really developing materials that would hide all EM signature, should it be for stealth material. So that's something that is very interesting for us to build on our expertise at developing verticals for the most sophisticated customers, now making solutions for them using our graphite, doing more than just selling a concentrate,
I'm glad that you talked a little bit about product diversification, right? With defense stealth materials, EMI shielding, fuel cells, of course. Those markets are known for commanding premium prices. How soon do you expect these sort of high value, very specialized products begin their sales cycles? I mean, do you project that these new revenue streams will start having an impact here on the graphite output?
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest market out there in the last few years was the growth of EV for sure, and battery energy storage. So I would say close to a bit more than half of our production at the mine site. We have two large offtake, one with Panasonic, one with the GM supply chain to sell our product in there. So it's half of the business, but that business, we must realize that the Chinese market are dominating that business. Like it's 100% coming from China. They built everything related to EV in a massive scale in the last 5 years. So it's a great business, high volume business. We need to be there. We have all the advantage here by low cost of energy, proximity to customer, having the two projects close to each other. We have a lot of advantage against the Chinese suppliers, and security of supply obviously being here, but we're still competing with China. In the rest, the other half of our production, it is, like as I've mentioned, 20 other application, lower volume, higher margins, stuff that are as much important in our economy. But because we have the first half, we can build a scale, we can build a team. We have 120 great people, and now we can start delivering more to these other markets. So we are very active hosting customers on a daily basis. We were named a project of national interest from the Canadian government quite recently. One of the benefits of that is to be in forefront of the discussion with large prime defense contractor to offer different solutions and offer offsetting solution for them when they want to bid on large defense contract. They need to invest in our local economy. So we are here developing with them great solutions. So that's when is it? We know it can take time, but we have time because Canadian government is offering an offtake to bridge this time it takes to work with customers. So at least we have a good foundation on the 30,000 ton. About a third of our output is reserved for the Canadian government and G7 countries. So we can develop solution on that third of the concentrate out of the mine.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up. The major project of national interest designation. It's a huge vote of confidence from the government of Canada. But of course, it's politically symbolic, which is great, but you're on the business side of things. What does this actually sort of allow you to eliminate in terms of financial hurdles? What does it allow you to fast track? What does it mean to the business to have this designation?
Yeah, it's a great initiative from the new government of Mark Carney. They developed this major project office in Calgary run by Dawn Farrell. She has a lot of experience running a major project in her previous life. So she talks our language. She understands our needs. So she's representing us very well. We're collaborating with a lot of different governmental agencies. So Export Development Canada, Canadian Infrastructure Bank, Public Work with the offtake, Natural Resource Canada, Canada Growth Fund on the equity side. So it's a lot of independent bodies doing their due diligence since few years in some cases on NMG. Like Canada Growth Fund already invested the first amount a year ago. And now it's about coordination. It's about like we receive all major permits on the project. We have a great relationship with local communities. The First Nation of the Atikamekw of Manawan are super involved in our project. We want to create great benefits for them in the construction of the project. We're ready to build this at Christmas. We have 50% of our contract ready to allocate. So it's about like closing, like running this last mile, you say in the US, making sure that we finish this marathon and we can start giving the benefits of our project. So this is really a coordination role more than trying to fast track because we already did the heavy lifting. It's really making sure the government finalize all those agreements.
And when do you anticipate those agreements will be finalized?
It's like we've done all the major due diligence on the project. We delivered another feasibility study a few weeks ago to make sure our project is like well understood and the risk is minimal on the execution of this project. We announced 31st of October 4 offtakes. So it's about like making sure all the different committees, they don't cut corners and they go to their respective committee and we close. So it's, hopefully it's for sure first half of 2025 or 2026, hopefully that like first quarter, but we're working hard for that.
All right, first half of 2026. Let's talk about some big names who are backing you beyond, of course, the Canadian government entities. Who are your major institutional shareholders and financial partners?
Yeah, so we have 6 insiders. So we have, for sure, Canada Growth Fund, Invest Quebec. That's the governmental, about a third of the shares. And then Mitsui from Japan, Panasonic from Japan, and also General Motors. So they have Panasonic, GM have each 8%, Mitsui 9%, and then the Palingers Group are just shy of 10%. Private equity specialized in mining out of UK. They started to invest in 2019. So that's the 6 insiders we have, and now we're building up a lot of other institutions that are now very interested. So we're in talk with about a handful of very large operators and large institutions that are now want to deploy capital into this critical mineral, sector that is quite essential in their economy.
Those are some big names: Panasonic, GM. Eric, what does their presence send about just the bankability of this project?
Now, obviously, when you can convince, like, for instance, Panasonic Energy is a great supporter. We work with them since 2020, Mitsui since 2018. These guys are the best partner we can dream as a startup project. They follow up on their investment. They provide resources. They are working hard with us to make sure we have the right product on time for them, for their US battery plants. So a lot of comfort for us as a management and also for the board and all stakeholders when such tier one institutions are doing so much due diligence and they need us to succeed. It's not something Panasonic is doing frequently. It's the first time they invest in a supplier, and they need to do it because otherwise it's all in China. So they need a diversification from China. So we don't want to replace China. We just want to have an alternative just in case. Having a resilient cost structure, having a localization of supply, carbon neutrality, it's all benefits to our customers of the like of Panasonic Energy.
And to clarify here, the Panasonic deal, if you include Canada's commitments as well, doesn't that effectively mean you've sold almost 100% of your mine production?
Yeah, with the four deals we announced 31st of October, we're nearly sold out. So
okay,
like 25,000 ton going to Panasonic to be transformed into the active anode material they need. 30,000 ton going to the GM supply chain, an existing anode maker that will convert our flake graphite into anode material for GM and other customer. And then Traxys. Traxys is a specialist in refractory bricks. You know, the bricks that goes in the steel foundries.
Yeah, yeah.
In the US, there's a big boom, obviously, because the steel making industry in the US is kind of very active these days. So they need the graphite from Canada to build those bricks. So Traxys, 20,000 tons going there. And then the last big one is the offtake with the Canadian government and J7 countries for all the other applications. So the high specialty stuff, the niche stuff that, you know, it's a lot of different customer, about 150 different customer, but none of these customer are buying enough to justify an offtake. So it's 10 tons there, 20 tons there, but high valued. We know those customers, and the goal was really to bridge this offtake to make sure we can build a project and be delivering those tons to all the partners. And it's the only really big graphite mine in the J7 countries. So Canada needed to do a leadership role here and making this instrument to finance the project.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification there. I know that the market is waiting for the final investment decision, right, for phase 2. We do
Me
know
too.
that sorry?
Me too. I'm waiting for the final investment. Yeah, I'm working hard for it.
We're all waiting. The lenders credit committees, I know, are in the coming months, right? When you talked about that timeline for FID, is that what you were talking about with that first half of 2026?
Yeah, we need to give guidance, even though it's not an MG that is closing the project financing. We have a lot of different stakeholders. Everybody are coordinating now, and MG is ready to build at Christmas. We are providing all the final details to these different committees. They need to make sure they are all comfortable, and hopefully we can have good news early in the year. Yeah.
Okay, great. And with this project financing nearing completion, Eric, what can you say to shareholders about where the majority of funding will come from going forward? I want to talk a little bit about future outlook. Is it coming from debt? Is it coming from, non-equity partnerships or more share issuance?
Yeah, obviously, we just filed recently the new feasibility study on the Matawini mine project. That is the strict priority in the project finance. It's a $421 million US capital expenditure that we intend to finance half in equity, half in debt, give or take. We already announced about $1 billion US of debt capacity last summer. So now we're very advanced in that conversation. And then the equity, as you saw, we have a lot of large strategic investors. Some are already in the share registries. Some are new that they are in a data room. So we're pretty active, just finding the best partner for us long term. It's not only having capital, it's having sticky capital that will follow the project and will bring value long term to all the other shareholders.
Absolutely. Sticky capital. I love that phrase. NMG, we've talked about it. You guys have really achieved some incredible milestones here. Can you talk a little bit about the stock to investors in our audience? What do you feel is sort of the single most important, the single biggest operational milestone that will convert some of those really incredible achievements we've been talking about, some of those wins, into market valuation, into gains here?
Yeah, for sure. The closing of the project finance will be key, like to really demonstrate to the the shareholder that dilution phase is over, hopefully, and we can build this project and start having a precise timeline for profitability. Sometime, in 2028, should we finish? It's a 30 months overall to start delivering the first tons once we are post FID. So really, that's the big milestones. And on top of that is lining up new customers, especially in the defense sector that needs those stealth materials. We're in active conversation just to demonstrate that we won't only sell concentrate. It's a great economics to sell this graphite concentrate from the Matawinie mine, but we need to build from there to create further value and building, more verticals than just the anode material that we have. And that market is booming. I don't know if you followed the market here in Canada, but last year in the defense sector, it was 63 billion invested by Canadian dollar by our government in defense.
Yeah.
World record, we never did that. And the government is planning to grow this to 150 billion yearly, and a third of it, give or take 10% of 30% of it going into critical minerals. So it's a lot of potential for us. We need to be there offering, and graphite is essential in many different applications for used not only for civilian application, but also for defense sector. So should it be high thermal management polymers, stealth materials, a lot of different things goes about the batteries, obviously, but a lot of different things that are quite important for large defense contractor. And we are here to help them finding solutions. Yeah.
Those are remarkable numbers on the defense spending side for the Canadian government. And once Matawinie is fully operational as a mine, let's look forward. What's the phase 3 growth plan? What do you see there?
Absolutely. Yeah, on top of there's two ways to grow the business. There's horizontal, making more anode material, making more graphite concentrate. That's the Watnan mining project we have. We've delivered preliminary economic assessment 42101 a few years ago, 500,000 ton per annum, so 5 times the size of the current Matawinie mine that we're starting construction. So it would be the largest graphite mine period on the planet. So that's horizontal growth. And then I've discussed about building other verticals to provide solutions. Graphite is fantastic for it. There's unlimited potential. You can go in graphene as well. Graphene is graphite. So we are now really at this phase of building other verticals that will provide a lot of profitability. And if you look at our projected IR, projected, EBITDA in the future of all those things, it's quite attractive. And that's where the investor that should have a look at what we will deliver. Hopefully post FID, it will be easier to show what will be the future profit.
Great. Thank you so much, Eric. And one thing our investor audience always is interested in, and one reason why I'm always excited to talk to CEOs who are also founders, is that nobody is more vested in this business than you are. Nobody knows it as well as you are. Nobody is more invested in the future of the business. Thank you so much, Eric, for joining us, for sharing insights about Nouveau Monde Graphite. I know that's the English pronunciation. I should say graphite in French. But we really appreciate you sharing your insights and sharing your time today.
Super. Thanks for having me, Michelle.